Meteorites, alien invaders that crash through our atmosphere and fall to Earth without warning. Steve Arnold and Geoff Notkin live to exhume these scientific wonders from deep space.
Numero uno!
Got one!
Yay! They are
Fantastic.
the Meteorite Men.
Time to open up the magic meteorite hunting chest.
One of the guy's most successful expeditions ever occurred in northern Sweden, where, despite the treacherous terrain, the horrendous conditions, and the interesting cuisine, they unearthed 4 meteorites with a combined weight of 175 pounds, valued at over $50,000.
Woohoo! Oh, yeah. Woo!
With triumph etched in their minds, the Meteorite Men mount a return expedition.
We don't know where the rocks are, but we know there's more of them out there, so we're back to get them. 1 meter off the ground.
But can they do the impossible a second time?
It's obviously not a meteorite, so do we want to move on? I don't really feel like spending an hour trying to find a piece of foil in this moss.
We're going to use a lot of different weapons in our arsenal this time around, hoping to find the big ones that are deep. Yeah!
Traveling at an astounding 17,000 miles per hour, meteorites careen to Earth and remain buried. Until now. Oddly, meteorites rarely fall near airports. So to get from the US to the Swedish hinterlands, high above the Arctic Circle, it takes no less than 4 flights. And that only gets the Meteorite Men this far, to the sleepy town of Jukkasjärvi. Still a 4-hour drive from the impact site. Fortunately, Jukkasjärvi has a hotel. Unfortunately, it's made of ice. The ice hotel is fashioned entirely out of ice blocks. In fact, everything here is made out of ice. And even though it's a warm summer's day outside, inside the hotel, it's a balmy -5 degrees, so snowsuits are a must.
Big Steve.
Hello? This is amazing.
Welcome back to Sweden.
You finally got your own Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah.
This is so amazing.
I think it's pretty cool.
Oh, very good. This is one
Pull up an ice
instance
cube.
where I check into a place that I don't have to say, hey, can I get some ice?
Yeah, right.
I know that I rarely say this to you, but I am genuinely impressed.
Well,
Outstanding job.
the last time we were here, we were able to hunt, came out with 4 rocks, and in reality, you pretty much whooped my butt on finding those. And I just thought it's time to get a payback if I can.
You wish.
Yeah, I do wish. So we're able to get back here in the sunlight, and we're gonna make it a little interesting this time.
No, I can't gamble. You know it's the only vice I don't have.
Yeah, well, it's not a gamble, it's just a challenge. Whoever finds the most wins. Wins this.
Oh, nice.
A Muonionalusta
Oh,
faced
wow.
watch.
Now, when you say most, do you mean in number or tonnage?
Yes,
No, you have to pick one.
I'll decide later. Follow me.
Well, you'll decide based on whichever one comes out best for you at the end of the expedition. Fancy.
Yes. Well, a toast to the hunt.
Indeed.
Using intel gathered on their last expedition, each of the Meteorite Men has a plan, and the plans are about as similar as Geoff and Steve.
Let's do a little game of rock, paper, scissors. Well, space, rock, paper,
Oh,
scissors.
thank you very much.
So you familiar with the game?
I am familiar with it.
So-
I've actually only played it once,
Okay.
but I almost won.
Okay.
I don't know, you seem to be setting a lot of rules and regulations for this one. I'm not sure I'm happy with it.
Well, tough. It's my ball, it's my bat. We play our game by my rules.
Oh, great, let's have a sports analogy.
Well,
as
let's
well.
do it, okay? Are you
All
ready?
right, I am ready.
One.
Oh, wait, I wasn't ready.
Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, hey! I win.
I thought you said that it was on... one,
It
two, three.
was.
You went one early.
Well,
You
it
went
gave
one,
you a
two,
competitive
three.
advantage. If you were quick thinking, you could have went, oh, he just did paper. See if
You
you're
get disqualified for that.
No,
All right.
All
And
right.
it's best of 3, right?
Fine. 1, 2, 3.
No, you said on the 4th one.
Ready?
Yes, I'm ready. 1,
2,
2,
3,
go.
Yes!
Damn!
I get to pick first.
You fixed it.
So we have the kind of the northern region and the southern region.
On their first expedition, the guys focused on a new logging road that had just been built in the area. A road that allowed them relatively easy access to what was once an almost unreachable zone. Of course, the new logging road is no longer new. A full season's worth of other meteorite hunters have been using the road, reportedly picking that zone dry. But Steve is unfazed by the challenge.
I'm going to choose the area nearest the road.
That's very bold.
Yeah, you know, because it's the easiest place for people to have gotten to, but I've got a feeling that our new equipment can outdo what the other people did, and hopefully we got a better chance at finding something that was missed the first time around.
Last time they were here, the rocks they found were deeply buried, sometimes as much as 7 feet down. So this time, Steve's banking on their 15 grand a pop, ultra-powerful German Lorenz metal detectors. This area has yet to be hunted with equipment as sophisticated as theirs.
Well, always wanted to push further east anyway.
I like this bit right in here. I know that's a heck of a hike from the road.
Right.
My strategy is going to be to try and strike out towards an area that's difficult to get to in the hope that it hasn't been hit at all.
Bold.
I'm sorry?
That's bold.
Oh, thank you. Well, we better get some rest then.
All right.
Thank you.
Good luck.
night. Oh, this is pretty spectacular. Oh, a real money bag. Excellent. I think I'm gonna need that. Okay.
Good night, John.
All right. Good night.
I don't think I can sleep with a bear staring at me.
It's the bear who should be afraid.
The guys' last expedition to Sweden took place in the fall. But now, it's the height of summer, which means even in the middle of the night, the sun is shining. In summer, northern Sweden is the land of the midnight sun. That's because the Earth is tilted on its axis by about 23.5 degrees, which means during the summer, the Arctic Circle is pointed directly towards the sun. So the sun never sets for 3 long months.
We're back in Sweden working together as a team, and we got our egos on the line.
For Geoff, a spot of friendly rivalry is nothing to be intimidated by.
You know, I try to encourage him. I realize these little contests are important to him, so I play along with it. What is important is that we're successful here, but I am convinced that once again, I will be the champion during the Muonionalusta hunt.
Four hours west of the Ice Hotel, the guys are once again face to face with one of the most demanding hunt sites in the world, Muonionalusta.
The challenges we're facing is mosquitoes. We're facing 24 hours of sunlight, which sounds like a good thing, but from what I've heard, it can start to wear on you. And we have forested terrain, which is quite unusual in the meteorite world. We're used to hunting in crop fields, out in the desert areas where there's very little to get in your way. And here we have trees all over the place that block us.
Lots of Swedish fir trees might provide a gorgeous landscape, but for the Meteorite Men, it's hell on earth. Dense forest means metal, but not the metal they're looking for. Most of the metal here is saw blades, nails, and other man-made trash. But if they can avoid the meteor wrongs and find the meteorites, it can pay off big.
The amount of meteorites on the Earth compared to the amount of gold on this planet is minute. They're rare, they're extremely rare, and that's why they're worth money. people want them. They're fascinating. They're difficult to find.
And finding meteorites at Muonionalusta is especially difficult. Meteorites usually fall in predictable patterns, which help Geoff and Steve zero in on likely targets. But the space rocks here have been chaotically shifted from their original landing positions by eons of glaciations and melting periods. So predictability and patterns go out the window.
As good as place as any.
Looks like Muonionalusta.
Yeah.
First up, Steve's plan to hunt by the logging road.
I have my new digging tool.
I have a new digging tool, which I think will impress and amaze you.
All right.
Remember how difficult it was to loosen some of those boulders
Yes.
and hack through?
You brought dynamite?
They wouldn't let me bring it on the plane. I brought this. This is a paleontologist's pick, and it is the biggest and meanest pick that I could find. What do you think?
I'm impressed.
Geoff and Steve have split Muonionalusta into two zones. Geoff thinks the hard-to-reach terrain of Zone 2 to the east offers their best chance at success. But Steve thinks Zone 1, while easier to reach, may not have been fully picked over by previous hunters.
Well, I figure since we're starting in my zone here first, we've got the new, better, deeper detector. And my theory is we have zones where there's a lot of trees and only handheld detectors can get in there.
When I think about the pieces that we found last year, the shallowest one still was close to a meter down. I'm not sure my handheld has that kind of a range for a mid-sized target. Yours is newer equipment, it's more sensitive, it might work. So it seems to me that you're just sort of tailoring this whole thing to give you the advantage here.
Last time, our friend Thomas and you were off using this equipment. You had the advantage last time. So it doesn't hurt if I have it for a few
I can't
hours.
help it if I hitch my cart to a winning horse. All right, as
I'm
you
not
wish.
blaming you.
This is your big day.
Have to ground balance this one.
Before the Meteorite Men can begin their hunt, they have to calibrate their metal detectors, since their machines are top of the line. Not only do they come with an impressive 5-figure price tag, but they also come with an almost endless array of settings, which the guys must adjust so that they don't spend all day detecting each other.
Actually, you head off. Let's see how far apart we have to be so these guys don't interfere with each other.
This is pretty good, I think.
Okay, so 30 feet, whatever.
Yeah.
There are definitely meteorites out here in this wood. I don't doubt that for a second. I think if we're dogged and we put the time in here, we're going to find something.
Since the Muonionalusta space rocks are about 90% iron, metal detectors are key. Detectors work by broadcasting a signal through a coil into the ground, creating an electromagnetic field. If that field encounters metal, the frequency of the signal is changed, and that change is heard on a speaker.
All right.
The only way to find a space rock here is to literally walk over it. So they need to walk over as much ground as possible.
Boy, that sounds good.
Geoff Notkin and Steve Arnold have returned to northern Sweden for a second expedition to one of the world's oldest known active meteorite sites, Muonionalusta. Steve's found his first signal, but is starting to have doubts.
So this isn't a really good sign that up here we're getting nothing. But you get down. When it's really strong, but it disappears that fast, usually tells you it's not even worth pursuing. I gotta keep moving on.
Despite the fact that Steve is sticking with his plan to use a small coil that he believes is more sensitive than any other used here before.
Right there.
He's quickly finding out that better technology doesn't necessarily make hunting in the tricky terrain of Muonionalusta any easier.
See, there is no way you're gonna be able to get one of those big coils in and around and through all these trees. But it's also problematic because if I get this coil too close to me, it starts picking up the box. So, even with the handheld, it's not easy.
As I usually do, I'm trying to get to the hardest, most difficult to get to bits. The places where nobody else would bother to look, because it's really a pain in the butt.
Even some of the ground beneath their feet is messing with them.
There's an abundance of mineralized soil which the local hunters call red clay, and that will give a positive signal to a sensitive metal detector, but when you dig down there, there isn't anything. It just crumbles away.
As if the densely packed forest and red clay aren't enough of a challenge, Geoff is quickly reminded that Muonionalusta has a couple of other unique characteristics.
This little spot here demonstrates in just a few square feet exactly what the terrain at Muonionalusta is like. Here we've got very spongy, marshy soil, and right next to it, a big rock. This is probably granite. So we sometimes see big rocks in the middle of nowhere, and people say, well, how did that get there? Did that fall out of the sky? No, it's not a meteorite, it's an erratic. It's a stone that was left behind by the glacier. And when we see these stones on or near the surface, it's a good sign, because meteorites are often mixed in with this layer.
These meteorites have endured several ice ages over tens of thousands of years. Glacial ice would inch along slowly, picking up meteorites and other debris.
The end of the glacier's life, when the ice age is over and the ice melts and it recedes, it just dumps all of that material at its furthest extent of travel. And all of Muonionalusta is a glacial moraine.
Steve has built a Muonionalusta model using layers of different colored soil. He's going to show in seconds what took hundreds of millennia for nature to do.
This meteorite fell up to 800,000 years ago, which, if it fell like a normal meteorite, you have the bigger pieces with more inertia going further, and then you have the smaller pieces dropping off in a typical strewn field, kind of an elliptoid shape with smaller ones trailing behind.
This is how most meteorites land on Earth. If you find a small piece, there's likely to be a medium piece nearby. This uniformity makes it easier to find meteorites in a known area. But
Then along comes a glacier. The glacier comes along, mixes everything up. You got a meteorite here, got a meteorite here. 20 feet down, you got a meteorite. So as you can see, the strewn field order is messed up, the depth is messed up. The experts say that this mixture of rocks is up to 60 feet deep in spots. So down at the very bottom, no doubt there's still some meteorites. I don't know if I want to dig a 60-foot hole to get it, though. Oh, look, there's one.
in addition to glaciers, mineralized soil, and tough terrain, Muonionalusta has one more obstacle.
Oh, here we go. Looks like a little meteorite. Looks like a little chondrite. Looks even fusion crusted. Moose poop.
After 7 hours of hunting, the Meteorite Men head back to meet an old friend who's hunting in the area.
Hello, there you are.
Aha!
Yes!
Nice to see you.
It's great to see you.
Hello.
Thomas Oosterberg first started hunting for meteorites in 2002. He became famous in the community when he found the largest Muonionalusta meteorite ever in 2008. It weighed 1.2 tons, and on the collector's market could be sold for over $300,000. In 1906, local villagers came across a rock with heavily rusted material. When it was confirmed as a bona fide space rock a few years later, Muonionalusta was put on the meteorite hunting map. A century has passed, and meteorite hunters continue to comb the landscape in hopes of finding more valuable space rocks.
So what's your strategy?
The strategy is to use this equipment in and around the trees,
All right.
where maybe someone maybe before had gone with something that
Yes.
wasn't quite so deep. You know, the big detectors, they can go anywhere in big swaths until they run into the
Exactly,
clusters of
exactly.
trees. So,
And this coil goes quite deep, so you can find a meteorite down to 1.5 meter. I'm sure, yeah. Yes, I think your strategy is quite right.
Okay, it's all good. Let's go.
North of the Arctic Circle in Sweden, the Meteorite Men are in the middle of a frustrating return expedition. They're hunting the densely forested Struenfield with local hunter Thomas Oosterberg.
whoa! That's kind of nice. What do you think, Thomas?
It's worth to dig a little bit. If you can localize the center, we can dig. Use
Okay.
2 more minutes just to dig, see what
Okay.
it is. Yeah.
All right. Boy, that sounds good.
Now we found something quite weird.
Yeah.
It's a strong signal, and maybe you should test it with your detector.
Sure. I'm getting a bit of a something.
Right. So far, it's pretty easy singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy when you're standing and watching.
My back's not hurting at all.
Digging, the least glamorous of all meteorite hunting activities, is especially difficult here. It might be dense, packed clay 1 minute, soft sand the next, and not to mention, there's a steady parade of giant boulders.
Is there something in here? Did you dig up something?
Yes, some dirt. Wow, it's going crazy.
Right there.
Yeah.
Is that?
I don't know. Aluminum?
No, it's not iron. It's some kind of button, no? Yes, it's
Oh my goodness.
it's an old button.
Congratulations, there's your first
So
one.
There
that
are
we need
button
that.
collectors, you know. There are button collectors.
But I'm sure.
Yeah.
Probably more button collectors than there are meteorite
Yes,
collectors.
I think so.
It's not the sort of find they want, an antique button. Approximate value, 56 cents.
Great.
The 4 meteorites that Steve and Geoff recovered on their last mission here totaled 175 pounds and were valued at up to $56,000. While some are sold whole, a lot of meteorites are sold as slices. When cut and etched, most space rocks reveal a unique pattern of lines. They're caused by different alloys and chemicals interacting throughout the meteorite's long journey from outer space.
What really characterizes the iron meteorites is that wonderful Wittmann-Statten pattern that we see on them. And that's the result of very, very slow cooling. And it cools down to about 1,500 degrees centigrade and it starts to solidify. But something happens, something very strange happens at about 800 degrees centigrade. The crystal structure changes, and we get these linear features.
Like a fingerprint, each meteorite reveals a different design. The pattern of the Muonionalusta meteorite is particularly attractive and sought after by collectors. Undeterred by their lack of finds thus far, Geoff is confident that their new detectors, which can probe deep to below 10 feet, will locate an even bigger haul this time around.
Some of these meteorites are extremely deeply buried, beyond the range of all known metal detectors. We've come back with a new, improved devastatingly powerful metal detector, which we think is going to give us the extra distance into the ground. We're going to find irons that previous hunters have missed.
So it starts about there.
I suppose we should have a look.
I suppose we should.
All right, well.
Well, let me see if it was that rock or if it was something else.
Really? That rock set off your detector?
Yes.
We've had an interesting experience which has taken us back to the way we used to hunt many, many years ago. We used to spend a lot of time using small, extremely sensitive detectors looking for stone meteorites. And in the process of doing that, we would often discover what we call hot rocks. And they are terrestrial rocks that have enough iron in them to set off the detector, but are not real meteorites.
Definitely, this is the one type of hot rocks here. Yeah.
The good sign is if we're within 6 inches of a hot rock, we get it. We get 8 inches away, nothing. So at least we're not going to be digging, 20 feet down to find a rock.
Yeah, that'd be really annoying.
All right, so let's see what I got down here. Boy, that sounds good.
It seems like this is a bit more significant than that rock we just looked at.
Wow, okay, that's worth digging.
The Meteorite Men are in northern Sweden, where they've hooked up with local hunter Thomas Oosterberg. Unfortunately, Steve's strategy of retracing easy-to-reach sites with detectors that probe deeper into the ground hasn't paid off yet.
Looks like an old button. Yeah, it is. It's an old button.
Great.
The guys are increasingly frustrated. The terrestrial iron rocks littering the site have created a minefield of meteor wrongs in the form of hot rocks. Hot rock is the term Geoff and Steve use for a mineralized earth rock that has just enough iron content to set off their equipment, giving them a frustrating false positive.
All right, so let's see what I got down here.
Maybe this is the real thing. And finally, a target worth digging.
You want to whack at it? You want me to whack at it?
No, I don't mind.
Okay. Gotta love working in the shade, though. It's a nice.
Oh, I bet this is it.
Fantastic, another hot rock. This is really starting to annoy me.
These big, deep seeking coils, up until now, have never been sensitive enough to pick up hot rocks. They only pick up meteorites or iron trash. This is a whole new and very unpleasant experience.
Kind of work our way over to the little swampy area that's just on the other side of this crest. We're over by where I found the first target, the button.
I'm good with it.
Boy, my detector doesn't like your detector.
No accounting for taste.
Being in Sweden, north of the Arctic Circle in the summertime means we've got 24 hours of daylight, which is really good, but then it's also really tough. We've got as much time as we want to hunt, but this is grueling work, and we've got to chop up the days somehow. Normally, you quit when it gets dark. Here, you got to quit before you fall over dead.
Oh, there's a big rock. Just a little, not much.
We had a plan this time around, and it's not working. Well, it's easy to say, oh, we're just unlucky, but I don't think we're any less skilled than we were. In fact, we're more skilled. We've got more hunting under our belt. We got better equipment. We should be finding more on this one than last time. I don't know.
The guys already calibrated their detectors to avoid seeing each other. But now, Steve is worried that they're also not seeing as deep into the ground as possible. So he devises a field test to make sure the detectors are doing their job.
All right, I'm gonna lift this up, and then you just pull up the slack.
Okay.
To make sure it's as effective as possible, Steve's field test will utilize an actual Muonionalusta meteorite on loan from Thomas.
What I'm trying to figure out is the optimal settings on this machine. So I've decided to hoist up a meteorite up into the trees.
Okay, now hold it.
And then bring the detectors in underneath it at different settings.
Their detectors see through dirt, so rather than digging a 6-foot hole, Steve has opted to hoist the rock 6 feet up.
It strikes me as a bit of a Laurel and Hardy moment.
Sure.
Especially since I'm standing under the bucket.
Now, if you can grab that pole with our little millimeter measurements on it.
I can see how tall I am.
Okay. 51. Wow.
That is about 80. Have you heard the one about the meteorite in a bucket? So serious today.
Steve fine-tunes the detector to the audio signature of the iron space rock.
130?
Yep. Did you think of this all by yourself?
Yeah.
It's really good.
Thank you. Okay, that's the last one. We now know how to set this for the optimum reach for a Muonionalusta meteorite.
The ingenious thing about this is that it's not only a meteorite, but it's exactly the type of meteorite that we're looking for.
Yeah.
All right.
Have you heard the one about the meteorite in the bucket?
Have a feeling I'm going to hear about it.
Confident that their equipment is seeing as deeply as possible, Steve recruits Thomas Oosterberg to join him at a new spot.
See, that's fast.
Yes.
On and off fast.
Right.
If it is one, it should be right there at the top. Because we're not losing it until there.
It's more consistent than the other one, yes.
Yeah. Or it could be a button.
Yeah, another button. You can start your button collection
The
here.
man's vest. He's just lost one at a time.
Yes.
It seems strong in different spots.
It seems that it has moved.
I'm used to something metal messing me up, and you find it, you get rid of it. I'm not used to the soil itself.
No, but I guess in this case, it's the soil itself. It contains small particles of magnetite or some other magnetic mineral. I think it's not a meteorite this time.
The guys know they're in the right area because they keep finding dig holes.
Another one! And it's in around trees. It was still wide enough they could get the equipment in, so.
See, this is the good and bad part, because you go, wow, there were meteorites here. I'm in the right place. But then you go, but did they already find all of them? Someone's found one right here. And not very long ago, by the looks of it. Within the past year or two, I would think.
It was from dig holes like these that Geoff and Steve plucked 4 valuable meteorites on their last expedition. So they know it can be done if they pick the right spot.
Oh, look at that.
That's impressive.
Wow.
On this expedition, Steve's strategy to go back over ground already covered isn't working. High-end Lorenz detectors are reading too many false positives, so it's time to adapt the hunt.
This has been a tough expedition and disappointing. We have given it our all. We're in the strewn field. We know where we are. We know the equipment we're using. We're still not finding any meteorites.
When you get to the end of the day and you have a meteorite in your hand, you suddenly don't care about the swamps and the bogs and the mosquitoes and the malfunctioning equipment and everything else. You just don't care because you have the meteorite. But when you go through all that and you don't have a meteorite at the end of the day, there's no sweetness, there's only disappointment and sometimes anger.
24 hours of daylight, so we're pushing it as hard as we can. If we had found something by now, we'd be partying, getting ready, packing, hitting the airplane. I can't just leave without giving it my all, giving it one last shot, hopefully find something.
The Meteorite Men are hunting for Swedish space rocks in one of the most grueling strewn fields on Earth, Muonionalusta.
Fantastic, another hot rock. This is really starting to annoy me.
A lack of finds, the onset of fatigue, and an abundance of flies all seem to be adding up to frustration for Geoff and Steve in Sweden's most famous meteorite field.
Nothing.
Last time they were here, they unearthed a haul of space rocks valued at over $50,000. This time, so far they've found an antique button valued at over 50 cents.
Great.
It adds an extra level of frustration because we're not bringing home any money.
Day 2 of the hunt, and the Meteorite Men adopt a new hunting strategy. Geoff's plan to use the bigger detectors in hard-to-reach areas.
If you could call room service and order some more mosquitoes, I'd appreciate it.
So, we've been here in my zone in the southern portion, and where Thomas is saying is over here in your zone.
This is where Thomas is saying we should go, to this bit here?
Well, he's recommending
Is
that it
that
might
not where I said that I thought we should go?
Yes.
No, you're not going to argue with me about this.
No, of course, that's what you said. I'm not
Well,
denying
then
it.
let's go there.
Okay, yes, let's get over there and let's see.
It's classic.
You're classic.
Thank you.
And it just so happens the one area that Thomas had in mind that we might like to go to happens to be a little area in this big zone that Geoff happened to pick.
Maybe with Geoff's strategy and a little advice from Thomas, the guy's luck will finally turn around.
We had a little conference with our great friend Thomas, who suggested an area that we might like to try. And lo and behold, that was the exact area that I suggested we should try yesterday. I mean, exact area. This looks interesting.
Yeah.
So are we going to assemble the 1.5?
Yes.
Good. I want to see it in action.
The 1.5 meter coil is obviously bigger than the handheld units. That means it generates a larger electromagnetic field. The larger the field, the deeper the detector can see into the ground. That's the good news. The bad news, the large coil needs 2 people to operate. That means they can't split up and cover more ground.
This is a really good size. Because I always thought that the 1 meter was too small, and the 2 meter is bulky. It's a little difficult to maneuver.
Right.
And this is obviously right in between the 2 of them. I think it's ideal for this kind of operation.
All right.
With the large coil assembled, the guys head off to search hard-to-reach areas.
Hold on, that was probably my boot.
Because it's so sensitive, the person standing inside the coil must have as little metal on them as possible.
Actually.
That.
That's either really big or really shallow.
When the guys mark a target with the large coil, they try to pinpoint the source of the signal using a smaller handheld unit.
Well, there's something in there. I'll tell you one thing, that's not a hot rock. It's either trash or a meteorite.
Or a hot rock.
It's not a hot rock.
It's not hot.
It is not a hot rock.
You're confident.
I'm very confident. Let's get the digging gear. It's not a hot rock.
No finds so far, but Geoff and Steve persevere north of the Arctic Circle in Sweden.
Well, there's something in there.
Running out of time, the guys have found a strong signal.
Let's get the digging gear.
Oh, that doesn't sound very.
Thanks. Yeah, I was a bit off there, wasn't I? I don't have a very good feeling about this target.
Oh. Wow.
I have no idea what this is, but it's definitely man-made.
Had a signal that was promising, not a clear-cut one, but not one we could walk away from. And compared to some of the other stuff we had, it offered promise. And not so lucky.
Doesn't it feel like the right kind of place? I mean, look at those trees. You know they're hiding in here. You know it. No more digging questionable targets.
I get too impatient.
Say.
It is easy to say.
I'll grab the handheld. Scrape around a little, see what that is. The soil is red.
I think we should check the hole with the detector. I'm not getting anything.
No signal on Geoff's smaller detector means either there's no target or there is a target, but it's deeper than the range of Geoff's equipment. So they check with the larger, deeper seeing unit.
Wow. That is interesting.
It may just be that dirt. Let's see if the dirt's loud. It is.
That's
the red dirt.
fantastic. A metal detector that finds dirt.
Fighting with the red clay is frustrating and challenging. You do all the work that you would to excavate a meteorite, but when you get down to the layer, there's nothing there. You don't even have the satisfaction of saying, oh, it was a nut or a bolt or a plow blade.
I get right about here.
It's under that sponge.
Yep.
Whatever it is.
The guys have marked another target, but with so many disappointments and still no find, the return mission to Muonionalusta is rapidly falling apart.
We moved it.
Did we?
It's in here somewhere.
Well, you know, it might just be a piece of foil or something that's mixed in here that we can't see, but it's obviously not a meteorite. So do we want to move on? I don't really feel like spending an hour trying to find a piece of foil in this moss.
Okay. I'm really tempted to complain, but you know, this is part of the job. If it's a cliche, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But if it was easy, everyone would have done it. This place would have been cleaned out already.
Let's go. Let's go.
That's not you, right? No, not me.
Maybe the guys are ready to steal victory in the final hours.
Wow. Sounding good.
Oh, well done, Hercules. Looks like a tombstone.
Yeah.
Let's drop the detector down in there. I really hope this was not what was causing our signal, because otherwise you're going to see that side of Geoff that nobody likes. Fantastic.
I say, Let's move it out of the way, get all the metal out of the way, bring the big coil back over it, see if it acts any different. Or you could just lay down, I could roll the rock over you and...
I prefer the second plan.
Let's not give up too soon. Let's get it up on it.
All right, you ready to just drop it?
No. Let's roll it again. Whoa. Or just put it right there.
Yeah, that's good.
We're losing it here. A bit here.
What kind of signal do you get from that thing?
Well, a little bit.
That's what it was.
But it wasn't picking. Well, I would say we lost the signal.
I think the signal was caused by the cumulative effect of all of these iron-bearing rocks stacked on top of each other.
And the sand
Yeah.
that's probably iron bearing. It's not so bad refilling a hole once you pull a meteorite out. This is just stinks.
Oh, hold it. 1, 2, 3.
Well, it was perhaps not our most successful expedition.
Ranks right there along the worst, I would say. Sometimes luck plays a role, and this time it was bad luck, I guess.
I propose we call it a day and head home and think about the next one.
All right.
Steve and Geoff conquered this terrain once and returned. But this time, Sweden has beaten them. Muonionalusta won. Meteorite Men won.
We could not possibly have tried any harder. I will not get back and go, damn, I wish we'd looked in that bit, or I wish we'd had a better detector, because there isn't a better detector, and there isn't any place that we wanted to go to that we didn't go to. This is actually how it is. You go, you try, you do your best, and sometimes the best just isn't good enough.
Part of me wants to come back. Another part of me just wants to forget it and put it in the rearview mirror. I don't know if I'll ever be back or not.